What's up guys? I know I've been keeping you waiting on the Lunia and Mikage deck profile, but they're definitely coming out right now. I'm going to be putting up the Mikage really soon after this one as well. Lunia has been one of my favorite rulers just since the beginning of time. Little Red was one of my favorite characters, like the Wolf Girl Little Red, and I've been really excited to play this Lunia ever since I saw that she was kind of getting a remake. A lot of people assumed that Lunia was Little Red after like the Kaguya spell happened to like purge all the Cthulhu, because Lunia was named Lunia the Liar Girl, and everyone knows that lying was kind of like Little Red's little thing. Not like the Crimson Girl Little Red, but the wolf one. So I've been really excited for this deck, and I think I made a pretty good version that works really well. I like it for the deck anyway. It doesn't have a lot of the cards that come with the starter deck, like the little goat girl and stuff, but I'll kind of explain what I was going with. I kind of made it into like a tag deck is what I call it, but I'll explain as I go. So Lunia is of course the ruler. She has Judgment for 2 red and 2 colorless, Energize, and whenever a Resonator you control attacks, this card deals 100 damage to target Resonator. So it's a mandatory effect, which means if you attack and they have no creatures, you have to deal 100 to your own creature. It doesn't say your opponent, it just says a creature. So you have to tag your own cards as well. And the whole idea is pretty much you hit stuff for 100 and then try to pick them off with other cards that either deal the appropriate amount that's left, or you can use cards like Taro to like finish them off. So this side is the whole like tag aspect. You just keep dealing 100 to everything. And then you have the Nyarlathotep side, which is the J-Ruler side. She has Swiftness and Limit 2. Limit, it says if you attack or block, you lose a limit, and when you have 0, this card would go back to the ruler side. So that's what this card's limit does. And then whenever she comes into the field, she deals 800 damage to a target Resonator, and at the end of the turn, if she has no limit, she flips back. So the 800 damage is really good. The original Wolf Girl was 12 and 2, so she was really sensitive and everything killed her. But 800 defense is pretty good on this one. I never really feel like it's too low. And then it's kind of cool to see that she's like almost a straight up remake of the original one, because I personally wanted to play that one really, really bad, but it was just really hard back then and there wasn't really much going for her. She just wasn't really a good ruler. So it's cool to have the remake. And then in terms of color, I play 4 black red. It's black red blue as the colors, so I wanted to get as much black as I could. Sometimes I feel as though I do have a lot of blue, but a lot of the black, like Taro, just seems way more important. The blue spells work just as good late game, but the Taros I wanted to see early, so I really like having more black. And then there's 3 dark depths, so 3 blue, black, and then 3 hard scores, so red, blue. So with this lineup, you have a total of 7 black, 7 black, 7 red, and 6 blue. You don't really need to focus on the red too much, but you still have 7, which is the same amount I have as black. As long as you double up on red by turn 3, you should be fine, and it's really rare to hit like 2 dark depths that early. And if you do hit 2 dark depths, there's still a lot of black and a lot of blue to play off of, so it doesn't really matter. But I didn't make it into like a pure aggro deck, so not having all red didn't really matter. I don't have like Lancelots or anything. And then the main monster that I actually like a lot in this deck is Flame Sprite. This is what I call like just the main tagger. So Flame Sprite is really cool because it has swiftness and flying, and it's 200-300. But what makes it so important is if you summon Flame Sprite and swing for the 200, because she's flying, she most likely won't be blocked, and she's swiftness so she can swing right away. And which means if you summon this in attack, you get a free tag on one of your opponent's monsters to follow up with like a Taro or like a Demon Flame. And in a situation where, let's say your opponent has like a Gwyber and they do have a flyer to block Flame Sprite, you can just use your effect to tap herself and deal 100 damage to the flyer. That way, even though you're not clear for an attack, you can still tag damage on an opponent's Resonator, which is just really cool. And then 3 Taros. I did play 4 at one point, but I didn't like having 4, even though I said this is like one of the main cards. With the Space-Time Anomalies and a lot of the cards I have here, my hand gets full really quickly. It's also just like knowing that you have removal through Lunia's J-Activate and she can flip back, and there's just a lot of ways that this deck removes cards. It wasn't like the main removal, it was just the one I liked using the most early on. So it was kind of like 4 was too much, but 3 still let me see it in the first couple turns, so it felt really good. And then for Hastur, this is also one of the main, if not like the best card in the deck. It's just really, really good. So the idea is that Hastur says she has swiftness if you have Lunia as your ruler. She has limit 2, and when she attacks or blocks, she deals 400 damage to a target resonator. Oh, it's J/resonator actually, which makes this even better. But the idea is every time this attacks, Lunia is going to deal 100 damage, and she's going to deal 400 damage. 500 damage kills a lot of really important cards in the game. If somebody has like main deck Heras, it'll kill those. If somebody has, I mean, I don't run Regalia anyway, but just in general. If you deal 400 damage, it's just enough to kill the cards that you make into bears, because I do run transformation magic in this deck. You can deal like 400 to 1 and 100 to like an elf token, killing like a sacred elf and an elf. This card is insane. It's just really, really, really powerful. And then I actually like that it has limit, because when it goes back to my hand, it kind of like doesn't leave it on the field for my opponent to deal with on their turn, and then I can just reuse it. So I've been liking Hastur a lot. And then 4 Snow Whites as well. These are literally all the monsters in the deck. I don't have any more creatures. Everything else is just a lot of removal spells. And these are really important because Snow White plays the same role in the deck as Hastur does. When she attacks, she deals 300, and then Lunia will make her do 100 more. That makes it really good because if you do have a transformation bear but you don't have a Hastur, you can do 300 from Snow White and 100 from Lunia to that bear, and it's 400 damage just to kill it off. So the numbers add up really well. I do run Flame King Shout too, so all these 3-drops do have like a really big way to clear my opponent's board. It's just those resonators just seem too good not to play. All the tagging just makes it so that if I attack with Flame Sprite, I can deal 100 to something like an elf token, summon Snow White, attack directly, deal 300 to a sacred elf, deal another 100 to another elf token. It just lets you remove all these little things off the board, and it makes it so your opponent doesn't really have much left. And then for spells, I have 3 Scorn. Hitting monsters didn't seem too important. I wanted to still be able to have an answer to Captain Hook. The rest of the spells in the deck are all really low cost, because if I do get hooked, it seemed like it was getting hard to come back. So I wanted to play a bunch of low cost spells, and this is a good way to get hooks out of your opponent's hand. But I was still worried more about spells like counters, because if they counter my Flame King Shout or the Hasturs themselves, it gets really bad. So I played 4 Nameless Mist instead. And then the 1/1 counter on this on Flame Sprite actually feels really good. There's been a lot of times where turn 1 I summon Flame Sprite and attack, dealing 200 to my opponent, and then they summon like their Sacred Elf or whatever and pass, and then I use Nameless Mist the next turn, give the 1/1 counter to my Flame Sprite, and just keep swinging. And now it's like a 3/4, which makes it kind of really annoying, and the damage starts adding up really fast. So you always need to know that if you get them down to like almost 1,000 as fast as you can, which is really easy with all the removal as well, Lunia can just deactivate, destroy their only blocker, and attack for 12. So that's always a really good way to finish off your opponent too. And then for Demon Flame, one of the like other best cards in this deck, just because it's like Taro, if I attack with a Flame Sprite and tag something for 100, I could finish it off with Demon Flame. It just lets you remove something for a really, really low cost. There's been times where I've been Captain Hooked on like 3 stones, and I would just have like a blue-red left, and on my next turn I would just tap for a stone, attack with the Flame Sprite I already had, dealing 100 to the hook, and then Demon Flame it, and then my opponent doesn't really have like anything left in their hand. They just have all this like mana dork stuff on the field, and then eventually I just Flame King Shout and wipe that all out too. So Demon Flame is really good. For Lightning Strike, other very low cost removal, even though you do have answers to hook, you don't want to get hooked, so this deals with all the mana dorks. Plus the 500 direct is really good as well. A lot of times, like there was actually a game I had where I played against someone that like out healed my damage with like Alice of Lights and Celestial Wing Seraphs, because they were at like 300 and I just didn't have this at the time, and I was just like, okay, I need like a little bit more of a push. I need something that's going to just like finish them off if I get them low. So Lightning Strike has been really good. And then it also, like, I don't mind wasting this early on like a Sacred Elf, but I'd rather keep the Demon Flame for something bigger because it's so easy to tag that using this on little stuff seems more sufficient. And then 3 Charlotte's Water Transformation. I didn't want to run 4 of this because I have 4 Space-Time Anomaly, and I didn't want to double up too much on all the water stuff. So 3 has been really good. I always have it when I need it anyway. There's so many combos you could do with this card. You can make something into a bear on draw and then recover, use a Snow White to pick it off, a Hastur to pick it off, a Flame King Shout. Like I had a game where I played against like a Gwyber deck, and on my draw I had 2 blue open, and so I went Charlotte's Transformation, the Adam Broly into a 4/4 bear, and then it goes to the grave, use it again, make the Gwyber into a 4/4 bear, recover, and then Flame King Shout and just wipe the entire board. So it was really good. Like this card is awesome. And then for Space-Time Anomaly, also combos with the bear. It's the only form of draw power in this deck because I don't have Guinevere's. I just couldn't fit them in. And then it's also really good because on cards like Muse that are kind of counters to this deck, you can make the Muse into a 1/1, and then when you tag it for 1, its defense is equal to the damage it's taking, so it still applies, and you can kill off Muses that way. Not to mention like Lancelot's or any good card that's like a 6/6, a Space-Time Anomaly and then a tag will kill it. So, or a tag first and a Space-Time Anomaly will kill it. So this card has always been really good. If you're gonna have blue-black, there's no reason not to play it. It's just like the best blue-black card I think there is. So that always works wonders. And then Black Moonbeam, just one. Lunia can't hit J rulers with her enter effect, so I still wanted to have some kind of main deck hit for rulers. For whatever reason, like I haven't really had trouble with rulers because Hastur and stuff is still really big body wise. They always end up having to block or something because they're so low, but I just like having it as an option. And then 3 Flame King Shout. This is just because the main source I have for monsters are all 3 drops. There's the 4 Hasturs and the 4 Snow Whites, so I just wanted targets for them, so I played 3. And then Space-Time Anomaly kind of helps me get those combo pieces in my hand, and there's a lot of removal to sit back on just in case you don't have them yet, so it doesn't feel too slow. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy the deck profile. This has been one of my favorite decks to do, so I really hope people that play it end up liking it a lot. It's a really interesting deck, and it kind of has a lot of cool angles to it, so I just want to make sure people kind of understood the curve. It is kind of hard to get used to because the tagging just has to be very appropriate. You have to count your numbers. I've been talking really weird lately. You have to count your numbers really well. And so just make sure you're kind of adding it up to the proper targets. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward deck. It's really fun to play. So if you really want to give it a try, you should. Like, don't second guess it. It's pretty inexpensive too. I think the Hasturs and the Lightning Strikes are probably the only expensive cards. I couldn't think of anything else in there that should have been too much. I don't think so. But yeah, it's not that expensive of a deck either. So if you guys did like it, make sure to give it a like. Definitely subscribe so all my future videos come straight to you. And I'll catch you guys next time.